Good morning, Mr. James Griffin. Thank you for joining the interview with VITV channel today. As you know, Vietnamese government is restructuring the banking sector. How do you see that process so far?
First, I would say that it's an important first step that Vietnam has taken to recognize the financial sector, the need for financial sector reform. The stress tests and the categorization that the banks that has happened up to now, I think, are important steps. The creation of the ATC and the AMC are also very important steps. But I do think that there are first steps, and I think there are a lot of other steps that need to be taken to be able to resolve and make a stronger banking sector.
Are there any lessons that's learned from the restructuring process in other countries that you can draw out for Vietnam?
First, I think the most important one is the recognition of the issue. When in our experience in other countries around the world, and Vietnam is not the only country that's going through similar exercises, is getting a better understanding on the recognition of the level of non-performing assets in the balance sheet of banks. The second point, and I think an important point, is based on that, get a better understanding of the need of additional capital in banks. So once there's a recognition that the level of NPLs are high, is how can we recapitalize banks? And that, in our experience around the world, it has been through a number of mechanisms. One is the creation, as the ATC and AMC has happened, is a creation of institution and funds that buy non-performing assets and clean up balance sheets of banks, and that is an exercise that we've experienced in a number of countries. In addition to that is the need of consolidation. The banking sector in Vietnam is quite large in a number of banks, and there is some need for consolidation. So in that respect, consolidation and recapitalization of financial institutions are also very, very important steps. Last but not least, I would say that a critical factor in this is improvement in corporate governance and risk management.
Cross-holding issues is one of the key challenges in Vietnam among joint stock banks. Any advice for this?
The prospects of growth in the banking sector in Vietnam are quite strong, and if Vietnam is going to continue or is going to resume its growth prospects, it requires a very strong financial sector that requires strong foreign direct investments. In our experience, this cross-shareholding does impede or does shy away from an opportunity of best practices, because once you clarify the cross-shareholdings, you get a better clarity on what is the level of the institution, and also is not too transparent when it comes to who owns what. So in our view, a big step towards the banking reform is working on the cross-ownership structures.
How can IFC help Vietnam in the restructuring process?
IFC, Vietnam is a big shareholder of IFC and is a big investee country for IFC, is a big stakeholder. And IFC has invested, today has in the banking sector about $900 million of investments in the financial sector in Vietnam, the biggest one being an investment that we did in the equitization process of Vietinbank Bank. But more specifically in the financial sector, there's two products that IFC has, advice and investment. So we do investments to help recapitalize institutions and prepare them for the development challenges that Vietnam has had, but also with advice. We operate in emerging markets, so experiences of other emerging market countries similar to Vietnam could be very useful for the government and the private sector.
Again, thank you very much for the interview today.